before we get to the Jets offseason, as the graphic is labeled, I'm going to do a little reflection, name a 2025 team MVP, and name a 2025 unsung hero for this team. So, a couple ways to go with this 2025 MVP. Armand Mimbu, or their first round pick last year, was really, really good offensive tackle. They kind of have a really good kind of pairing there for the future. And their 2024 first-round draft pick, do you know how to pronounce his name?
Ole Fashanu.
Thank you.
Olu?
Fashanu is how you say his last name.
I believe
We'll roll with Fashanu.
It is Fashanu.
And then Armand Mimbu on the other side. He could get it. Breece Hall held there against his will.
Is that the pair of offensive tackles with the hardest names to say in the NFL?
Maybe.
Probably. Breece Hall held against his will in New York. Broke the 1,000-yard rushing mark. Congrats to him.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, maybe Garrett Wilson only played 7 games, but he led the team in receiving. He could deserve some love. I'm going to give it to Garrett Wilson because I want to. It probably really should go to one of the other two, but I think it's just so funny that he played 7 games, didn't even break 400 receiving yards, and led the team in receiving. Do you want to guess who was second on the team in receiving?
I just saw it, so.
Okay,
I haven't
let
seen it.
Sanders guess
I
then.
haven't even looked at the I didn't even know who the other wide receivers are.
It's tough.
That would have been my guess because he was kind of a trendy waiver wire pick
Yes.
in the second half of the season.
Is it a tight end?
It is a tight end.
Oh, all right. Does he have?
I think I can give you the college he played at. I'm
Ooh,
pretty sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
LSU?
Mm-hmm.
It's not Thaddeus Moss.
No, it is not. Man, I really was excited about the undrafted free agency pickup by
yeah,
the
that was
Commanders
because
back
he
in
was
the day.
he's a tight end on a national championship
Yeah.
winning team. I don't know.
Mason Taylor.
Oh,
Do you want to
yeah,
guess
yeah,
who's
yeah.
third on the team in receiving?
It's got to be. Is it Breece Hall?
It is Breece Hall. Okay, fourth. This is actually a wide receiver. The fourth on the team in receiving, another wide receiver. The only other wide receiver to break 300 yards receiving.
It's
Did
not
it by 1 yard.
It's not the Ole Miss guy, is it? He's not there anymore.
No.
Elijah Moore, no.
Okay, I didn't think so. I have no idea.
I think this guy played at Texas.
Yeah.
Recently?
Yeah,
Yes.
like the past couple years.
Played against Michael Penix in the playoff game. Caught a touchdown in that game.
Isaiah Bond?
Nope. Fifth is a Alabama wide receiver.
I don't know. You're just
Okay.
going to have to give me
Adonai
names.
Mitchell is
Oh,
fourth
yep.
with
A.D. Mitchell.
301
Yes,
receiving
from the
yards.
Sauce Gardner trade. Wait. But were those 300 yards at the Jets, or did someone from the...
You make a good
Colts.
point. Let me,
I'll look.
Yeah, he'll
Because
look.
it'd be even funnier if all of them were with the Colts, and then he got traded and just did nothing
Did
at
nothing.
the Jets.
Yeah.
No, they were with the Jets.
Okay.
300.
Congrats.
Good for him.
Shout out him. But yeah, it's a tough little group there.
Yeah.
Really no production from that room.
Poor Justin Fields
Jaws,
just
any
has
other
never had the weapons around
Team
him.
MVP shout.
No.
No, I would have went. Yeah, I would have went with Breece Hall
Sure.
with the year he had. He wasn't necessarily that much of a fleece
Yeah.
in terms of a fantasy football pick this year.
Sure. For unsung hero of this team, I've elected not to give one because I
Wow.
just genuinely don't think this team is deserving.
Unprecedented right there.
Um,
Nobody?
just start thinking about what this team did this year.
Not
Maybe I should give it to the punter. He got a lot of work in.
not a single soul deserved unsung hero.
I think the unsung hero for this team is like the friends we made along the way.
I got one, and it's only because of the bold feature of team reference. Nick Folk,
Okay.
their kicker, led the league in field goal kicking percentage.
Shout
There
out
you
Nick
go.
Folk. There we
Players
go.
that
I love
qualified.
that.
He was 28 for 29.
I will say Nick Folk is a known name, but we'll
yes.
give it to you. We'll give it to you. You know what? Kickers, any kicker except for the Cowboys kicker, Brandon Aubrey, would be an unknown kicker.
Can I disagree with you there?
Sure,
A lot of kickers are pretty well known.
that's fair.
You know them when they miss a kick that sells
This
your
is
team the
also
game.
True.
Yeah.
All
All right. Those are your known as multiple guys. I agree with the Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall had a fantastic season, and then I like the Nick Folk
Sure.
shout. I need to start using that. You said it's Pro Football Reference. Like it's just like if they lead a stat, they're just
Well,
bolded.
he had one from Tuesday. What was it, Tuesday?
It was a punter for I forget which team, but he led the league in no, it was a punt returner
Yeah.
who led the league in it was Devin Duvernay. He led the league in punts returned.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
He never for catching, just always going.
Good for him.
Yeah,
Moving
Devin
on.
Duvernay with the Bears.
Yeah. Moving on to the actual offseason. Head coach stays the same. It's still Aaron Glenn, though I wonder if he feels like his days are numbered a little bit. It was not an inspiring first season. It was his first year. Team was horrible. But that seat at least, kicked up a few degrees in terms of warmth. He's bringing new coordinators to try and fix some of the mistakes.
Big time guys too.
Frank Reich
Frank Reich. Yep.
coming in to be the the OC.
Yep.
Was Stanford's interim head coach
Yeah.
last
Mhm.
season. He's a very respected name. Has been around a long time. It's a pretty big pickup in my opinion. And then the DC is Brian Duker. It's his first DC job. He's been around the block. A lot of time spent as like position coaches for defensive groups. A lot of secondary work in particular. I imagine Aaron Glenn will call the plays still. So that's kind of part of the reason why you don't necessarily get a really big splashy hire at the DC position. You kind of instead get a younger guy that's going to be willing to be a first-time DC, learn the ropes of calling plays potentially, and then move on. So I'm fine with that move, even if it isn't once again the most splashy.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on those two hires before we move on?
The Frank Wright one is going to be interesting, especially considering who in the world is going to play offense for this team next year, which is something we'll get into here in a second.
Hey, they still got Brees Hall there kicking and screaming.
Yeah, but he is a guy who's had a.
They don't. He's a free agent.
You're right. Oh my gosh, they're gonna bring him back.
But they're
gonna offer him
they can
so
franchise tag.
They're
him.
gonna,
gonna
or they're gonna do
franchise tag
that.
him.
Yeah.
So he
That's
may be
wild.
forced under that, and they money talks. Like Myles Garrett wanted out, and then a couple extra zeros were added on there, and suddenly he's a Cleveland Brown again. Frank Wright has had a kind of a career that's been up and down. Some good years with like the Colts and Andrew Luck, but then he was hired on as the Panthers head coach and was fired very, very quickly in that tenure. Kind of revitalized, I guess, his coaching career with Stanford. Just got reps in, but Stanford was terrible at football.
He just needed enough time to pass between his failed head coaching job to
Yeah,
get another gig. It's
He
the
was only
classic.
brought on because Andrew Luck is,
Basically,
some
he asked
kind
for
of
a
an
favor.
advisor role.
Yeah.
He's like the president
the
of football,
GM.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
So I'm curious to see how that'll go for him, especially with what I said at the top of this statement was who in the world plays offense for them next year.
It's not good.
Who in the world plays offense for them is a good question, and one of the ways they can look to address that is the draft. So why don't we head there?
Let's do that.
Due to trading Sauce Gardner to the Colts, they actually have 2 first-round draft picks, one at 2, one at 16, and they have a lot of needs, let me tell you that. The problem here is we just talked about like who in the world's going to play offense for them. Well, their defense isn't good either. So like you kind of have to address that as well. I mean, they didn't have a single interception last season. They broke a record in that regard.
Yeah.
They need interior defensive line help. They need linebacker help. They need defensive back help. They desperately need another wide receiver. You just let Brees Hall, he's not on the team anymore. Maybe you need a running back. The offensive line's at least in pretty good shape, but who's going to play quarterback for you? You got to figure that out. So many ways for this to go. At 2, you do, though, however, like we know who's going to be on the board at this point at 2. Like Mendoza's going 1. So Jets can basically already make their decision, like right now or in the months leading up. They don't have to make it on the spot on draft night. I personally am going Arvell Reese here, getting a stud, blue chip defensive player that can kind of be a star of that defense for years to come. We just talked about how they need offensive help, but am I really going to take Cardinal Tate at 2?
Mhm.
No, I'm not. I'm going to take the better player, in my opinion. So that's kind of what I would do at 2. Before we get to 16, y'all agree or disagree?
I agree, but I am curious, and it'll be a talking point as we get closer and closer to the draft, and it'll be a talking point next week with the Combine. How quickly or will David Bailey move the needle there? Because some people already like him at 2. Like Mel Kiper
He's
likes
becoming
him.
very divisive.
With his physical traits and just what he was better statistically last year than Arvo Reese was for Texas Tech and the Red Raiders. Shout out CT. Than Ohio State and the Buckeyes. So I wonder if there will be some kind of debate there.
There definitely will be. It's not clear cut. I'm just very high on Arvo Reese. He's one
I
of my
as well.
guys, and like that's not a hot take. So many people are.
I'll tell you what I
but-
would like. I would like for this draft to be better so that the Jets can trade out.
Sure.
Unfortunately, I don't think anyone is going to trade up because I just don't think any of these guys at the top are better than the rest of the class. They are more elite.
Yeah.
That there's a big enough drop off between them and the next guy at their position, except maybe some team falls in love with like a Caleb Downs and like he's sitting there at 7 and they trade up from like 18 or 19. But there's not really, I don't think, going to be any market to trade out as number 2, which is unfortunate for the Jets because, like you said, they need so much.
Yep.
And this is just not a good year to trade out.
Well, at least they have 2 first-round draft picks, so let's get to the second one.
Yeah.
They're sitting at 16. So many needs once again. I think they're looking at, hey, who falls to us a little bit? Is Jordan Tyson there at 16? Do we like that move? Is Mekhi Lemon there at 16? And maybe we draft him. Or maybe Mansour Lane slid a little bit. He's at 16. Or we really like Jamad McCoy. We get a cornerback there. Maybe we love Peter Woods, for example. We go interior defensive line there. A lot of options. I personally would love for them to take wide receiver because I know they don't have quarterback figured out, and it probably won't get figured out this year. There's going to be a stopgap solution. But you just can't go through a repeat of what you did last season where, once again, the quarterbacks that played were not good, but you gave them really no route to success, especially after Garrett Wilson went down. You're just throwing to not good NFL wide receivers. I almost called them bums, and I was like, okay, they made the NFL. Like, I'm the guy sitting in the chair right now, so like I'm not going to call them that. Just people that are not going to spend a long time and be productive in the NFL. So I would go wide receiver there, assuming the board shakes out in a favorable way.
Yeah.
Agree? Disagree?
I agree.
I like it.
I don't hate that at all.
Perfect. Let's move on to free agency then.
Actually,
Go ahead. Yep.
to cap that off with the draft, this is a team that I think there's going to be some conversation for Ty Simpson there at 16 for whatever reason, but they have a ton of draft capital this year.
So much.
They have, they're one of the teams that is going to dictate the story of the draft in a way because they have 4 picks inside the top 44, which is pretty kind of unheard of with their 2 first-round picks and then the 33rd and the 44th pick. And then also people are going to try to say quarterback. They don't have to. They have 3 first-round picks next year in the Sauce Gardner trade and then in the Quinnen Williams Cowboys trade, including their own pick. And so they could be terrible and be in a spot to have Dante Moore or be in a spot where they can trade up and get the quarterback that they like next year. So it is not something that they have to address this year. And I think that will be missed by some people because no one looks at a draft class the following year prior to the current draft class, especially draft picks.
I think it's a great point. I should have mentioned it. I kind of alluded to it when I was saying they're going to go with the stopgap option this year.
Yeah.
I would still draft a quarterback.
I would,
maybe
too.
in the 5th round or something like that. Just take a flyer. But you do have tons of draft capital. The roster's in a dire spot, but you're in a fantastic spot to upgrade it via draft, and then you have $80 million in cap space in free agency.
That's with $46 million in dead cap to Aaron Rodgers and Sauce Gardner.
Yep. Insane. Now the question is, how in the world do you spend it? Because there's just so many things to address. It's kind of like what we talked about with the Patriots in the preseason last year of why they have so much money, but I guess time will tell if they allocated it right. Did they go too much volume shooting? Did they get real stars? So I'm not saying they're going to do what the Patriots did and just hit on, signee after signee. But what's the strategy? Are you going to go volume? Or are you going to try and go get a big name? You can be like, hey, Trey Hendrickson, you're a free agent. We can pay you more than anyone else can pay you. Come play here. Yeah, we probably won't be good next year, but in 2 years, you're still going to be good. We're going to be good. Or, you go more the, cheaper veteran route. In terms of positions, they really need a hammer in free agency besides everything kind of. You got to get someone to play quarterback, in my opinion. Bring in another quarterback to the roster. Okay, it's a bit of a sidebar. Do y'all think they just roll Justin Fields back out there again?
I think it's impossible because of the way I forget if it was the owner or the GM spoke about.
Okay, that's what
Justin.
I'm thinking.
I think that's almost impossible to do that. But they rolled him back out after he said that in the season. So
True.
it's on the board.
Do you just let Tyrod Taylor have a go at it because you're like you may not find a better option. So maybe you don't really have to bring in a
Go get Trey Lance.
go. I mean, it doesn't really matter who you start. In my
It doesn't.
opinion.
You want to start somebody cheap, and you want to start them, and you don't want to have to go sign. You don't want to go sign Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be expensive. You're not in the time.
Well, unless you just love him that much and he's
Yeah.
your long-term option.
Yeah. But you don't want to go spend money. Like, you don't want to go bring Trey Lance in on a 3 or 4 year deal. You want somebody to come in on you want like a Jameis. What the Giants did with Jameis and Russell Wilson. That's the kind of thing you need to be doing, I think,
Sure.
as the Jets. And maybe you already have that in Tyrod. He is going to be a free agent, but maybe you bring him back. If I'm Tyrod, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you want to start, you do it,
Yeah,
but
you
you're
just
not
get-
going to win. And I don't. So maybe it's
He's
like
just probably not going to be able to play somewhere where
Yeah,
he's going to win.
yeah.
So he has to make the choice of winning or playing. I think he's going to go playing.
Yeah.
Other free agency moves I like to see them make: bring in a wide receiver. You're probably going to draft one, at least one. Go get a guy. I think they maybe will try and go get Wan'Dale Robinson. Bring him cross town, something like that. Maybe they go get Romeo.
it's the same
Doubs.
stadium. Bring him to the other
Yeah.
sideline.
Maybe they get Alec Pierce. You got to get a wide receiver and not just like a bargain bin wide receiver. Like, don't bring back Josh Reynolds, who caught 15 passes for you. Gig him, love you, Josh Reynolds. It's not what you need. You can find other people to fill that void. Another name I want to point out that's kind of interesting, maybe Alex Anzalone comes here. He has a connection with Aaron Glenn. It's
Yeah.
become very apparent he's not going back to the Lions based on what he tweeted.
Yeah.
So
he was
maybe Aaron Glenn's like, yo, come here. You've played really well under me. This unit needs a lot of work. You can kind of be an emotional leader of it like you were for potentially a time in Detroit. I would really love that pairing. I would honestly kind of bank on that happening. The only caveat is if Alex Anzalone's like, yeah, no, I'm getting older. I want to go win. But they have a ton of money to play around with. It's going to be super interesting to see how they allocate it. Any thoughts?
It is interesting is just a great way to put it because it's such a precarious spot. There are so many holes. You don't necessarily have all the money to fill the holes right now with just $80 million, and like I said, 46 of that being dead cap to Rodgers and Sauce Gardner. But you will have it next year. Next year they already have $210 million available next year. They might sign a few guys to long-term deals, so maybe we're looking at like $160 million.
Yeah.
Give or take, and that's an insane amount of money to be able to approach the following season. But then also, you mentioned at the top, is Aaron Glenn on the hot seat? Maybe kind of so. So wouldn't he want to try and go and win this year? And so he might make some big splash moves and unnecessary moves. It does feel like the Jets are just going to continue to be the Jets, which kind of sucks because they're in a spot where they don't have to be. They can add a bunch of, in this draft, blue chip guys with their second pick and their 16th pick. And then in next year's draft, 3 first-round picks, add 3 more blue chip guys. And this could just be the Detroit Lions because of the Aaron Glenn connection where you are bad, and then, we just missed the postseason. Then it's turned around, and you have all of these draft picks that have hit and are making valuable snaps for you, and are being valuable pieces for you. I think it's interesting. It's just such a great way to put it.
There's a reason I was really excited to do this one because you go into it actually thinking like, oh, this can be the classic LOL Jets. They're cooked, They suck as a franchise, which we got our jokes off earlier on in this segment. But they actually have great opportunity in front of them. Like, they have an unreal chance. The amount of wealth they have at their disposal, not in physical players on the roster, but in assets and available money, they could turn this thing around really quickly. They really could.
Yeah.
Now, it's the Jets. They may not push the right buttons. They're not known for pushing the right buttons. But the opportunity here is immense.
Yeah. Something I just want to say, and it's kind of led me to another thing. I feel like one of the Jets' issues has been they've been trying to address offensive line for like 6 years, and it has not really worked. In 2020, they spent a first-rounder, their only first-rounder, Mekhi Becton. He's no longer on the team. In 21, they spent a first-rounder on Elijah Vera-Tucker, who's now about to be a free agent. In 2023, in 24, they spent a second-rounder No, 23, they spent a second rounder on Joe Tippmann. He's a center. He's still with the team. 24, they spent a first rounder on Olu Fashanu. 25, they spent one on Amon Membu. So that's, 2 first-round picks, a second-round pick, and then 2 more first-round picks,
They
all on
also
offensive
drafted
line.
Francis Mauinoa's brother last year.
Oh.
But that dude plays linebacker.
Interesting. But and yet we're looking at all these resources they poured into offensive line and not sitting here going, oh, yeah, they've got a really good offensive line for all the resources they poured into it and invested in it. Instead, it's like, they've got a couple young tackles. Like, hopefully that pans out. But like,
I don't know. I love their tackle pairing. I won't lie. I
okay,
think
so
they're
we
in
can
great
say
shape.
so they've got a really good tackle pairing, but still for the resources they've invested in it, you'd like to come away with
It's
more.
kind of it's really it's like they finally about damn time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, well, good
Yeah,
job.
congrats.
You've been spending first round picks for 6 years, and you finally got your tackles. Congrats. Now you've spent those 4, 3 of those other picks, and you don't have anything to show for it. That being said, the Jets just need to. I think the best way to kind of get around those misses they've been having is just draft the best player, which is I think why Arvell Reese is really good. If they weren't picking second, I would say take Caleb Downs. Like if they were picking at 6, I would say
Sure,
take Caleb
yeah.
Downs, because I think Caleb Downs has a really good argument that he's the best player in the draft. He just plays safety, and so I would even throw out you said they pick 17. Where do they pick
16.
16. If he's sitting there at 10, do you do you take one of those second rounders you have and try and get up 6 spots? Because that's the thing is I think for the Jets you cannot miss, because like you said, this could be the Lions, but it will not be the Lions if they keep missing. And I think the best way to avoid that is just drafting really good guys. And you hit on Sauce Gardner and you moved on from him. You missed on Zach Wilson and he's not on the team anymore. So it's you just really need to hit on your guys going forward. And I think that I think Arvell Reese is a really, really good pick. But I think that the other really good pick, there's not going to be another guy at 16 who I think you feel like is a lock. But if there is one at 10, I wouldn't hate trading up for it and just get that guy, because
Sure. It depends on what it costs. At the end of the day.
exactly. But that's my thought. Is I think that the Jets just need to feel really good that they're going to hit on their players, because that's the first step, right? We talked about in this new age of NFL free agency, it might be a lot harder to go and get a splash signee, and so you have to hit
Especially
on
when
those guys
you're
through the
the
draft.
Jets.
Exactly, especially when you're the Jets.
He wants to go tear their ACL.
Exactly. So you have to make those moves in the draft. And in this draft where it's kind of a weird draft with not a lot of quarterback options, and no, there isn't a Aiden Hutchinson really or Trayvon Walker. There's no Chase Young, in my opinion. These guys are really good, but they are not quite as good as the Nick Bosa was coming out of college. They're just not. They're not Myles Garrett in 2017. It's not quite the same. So it's a little different. So I'll be interested to see how they navigate this draft and then next year's draft as well.
It feels like just day by day we continue to find things about the draft that are quirky and interesting, and man, this could be a nice 10-minute, 15-minute segment. And I think you just introduced another one, and that of the Jets maybe try to trade up and get into that top 10 somehow with their 16th pick and the 33rd pick, the start of the second round, because we kind of know this right now, and it seems to be a little bit of consensus at this point that once you get past 10, it feels like there's going to be a drop off in terms of the quality of player when you go from,
I think it's probably 12 or 13 because Delane is sitting there at 11-ish. And
I'm thinking when you go from Reuben Bain, David Bailey, Arvo Reese into Keldrick Falk and Cassius Howell, when you go from, Carnell Tate and Jordan Tyson, and then you drop into
Denzel Boston
and Makai Lemon, Caleb Downs is, if he's not picked at 10 by the Cincinnati Bengals, one, they'll burn their building down and force them to move to a new stadium, and two, it would be a steal if wherever you went past 10. The Jets trading up to 10, I think, is an interesting conversation, because you'd love to.
Not even necessarily not that 10 is the benchmark, but it's somewhere in that
I think 10's a very reasonable one.
9, 10, maybe if someone gets out of the top 10, if Reuben Bain does get to 11. Although if you take an Arvell Reese, it's tough to go back-to-back edge rushers.
Hey, Kansas City, I think, is in a spot where maybe they would like to be able to add 2 young talents instead of just one, with the cap situation that it seems like they're going to be under for year after year, because they're going to go, it looks like at this point, into a New Orleans Saints mode and kick the can down the road by moving the signing bonus. I think me personally with New Orleans, I wouldn't hate it, but like I also would love to just get one of the top 10 blue chip guys and add that piece to our team. So somewhere in that 8 to 10 mark is I definitely think a spot for maybe New York to re-trade up because it's going to be, I think, impossible to trade back from 2 and get the good value.
The last thing I'll say before I get to their 2026 goal. We've said all this, but then the scary thing is you got to figure out quarterback at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But also don't rush it, which we've kind of already touched on. Like they're realistically scanning the market, scanning options. There's not a viable option to go get this season. So just wait. And the 2026 goal is establish if Aaron Glenn is the guy. Draft well, get talent on your team. Let us see the talent play out on the field. Uptick in production. Let the young guys play. You, unfortunately, if all this pans out and you hit on your draft picks, you may win a couple too many games to have the first overall draft pick or second overall draft pick, which really hurts the thought of oh dang, we need to go get our QB. But maybe if you really just hit on those guys enough and hit on those free agency enough, you got the assets to move up to get your QB if you have to, right?
Yeah. And I was wrong this year, but next year the QB class is going to be really good. Next year's QB class, like 2026's or 27's QB class is going to be great. I know it's all the same guys. I said we're going to be in 2026, but it's going to be good, I promise.
Yeah, just realistically the goal, don't be, a mockery of the NFL. Maybe get some people saying positive things about you for once, and we can go from there. And then I actually have a question, but we can end this segment before it if we want.
Cool.
So this guy up on this thing you have pulled up, Quantez Stiggers, didn't play in college. Is he just international?
Where can you tell me what year?
He's middle. He's a white line in 2024, 5th round pick.
5th round pick. Quantez Stiggers, none. Yeah, I know the NFL has an international, NFL. I forget what it's called. Is it just NFL International? It's the Eagles tackle, not Lane Johnson, but the other one.
Jordan Mailata.
Jordan Mailata came through that program. He was an international. I think he was a rugby player. So they do have guys, that come internationally. There's a couple punters that have done it. Maybe a linebacker somewhere. So I bet that's what he is. I couldn't say for certain.